Welcome to another episode of Making a Crapsterpiece here on the Crap from the 80s channel. And Making a Crapsterpiece, as you know, if you've watched the other episodes, it is about the filmmaking career of myself and my best friends who have done this with me for many, many years. And we just talk about a favorite film of the particular person that I'm talking to, that we have made. And today, I have with me a true LBP Warlock warrior, Meredith Host, who has been with us since 2002. Oh my goodness.
That's a long ass time, isn't it?
So what are we hitting? So 18 years. We are 18
Yeah.
years. We've already passed 18 years.
Oh my God.
Because it would have been October.
Yeah. That's wild.
Wild.
Where does the time go?
Look at us. And we don't look any different from when we did 18 years ago.
Well, you don't.
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. I'll take the compliment.
Just go with it.
Yeah, I can still play a 20-year-old.
You can. I'll still have you play a 20-year-old, I'm sure. So Meredith,
Yes.
you have done, out of everybody in the group, and next year will be 30 years of me doing this. So next year it'll be 19 years of you doing this. So in all of those years, you've done the most flicks with us, and one of your picks just happens to be the Weirdzees. So this is one of your favorite shoots that we've done throughout the years.
Yeah, I mean, when you initially asked, I was like, well, my pick has already been taken. I mean, I know would have been Wet Heat.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
But it's okay. That's all right. Yeah.
The movies can be picked multiple times by whoever I talk to. Because
I didn't realize. I thought no dupes.
Yeah, the series is gonna keep
going.
Okay,
well, good, because after I watched the Casey one, I texted you with like all the things that could have been said.
Yeah, so we'll have.
So we'll come back and we'll do this again.
We'll have a.
I'm excited. To talk about the Weirdsies though.
Everybody's got their own perspective.
Their own take on it all.
On shooting.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the Weirdsies will be brought up by other people. I've certainly brought it up already. And so we're going to talk to you about the making of 2015's The Weirdsies.
Wow.
So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is, do you remember your very first, being talked about the Weirdsies?
Like when you told me about it?
Like, do you remember the first thing you heard of the Weirdsies from me?
The word on the street from you was, what I remember was that you said you wanted to do, well, first you're like, this one is going to be the most mainstream we've ever done. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay, that's different. But then also you said, I think it was the basic gist of it, with group of geeky gang going on an adventure and, stand by me vibes, with of course some gross humor. And I'm pretty sure you already at that point had said the whole virgin thing and trying to get laid, basically. Mm-hmm. So that was, and then, and then from there, it progressed into more of the detail aspect of it. And I don't think you told me that much because you wanted me to just read the script. I feel like you
I definitely
wanted to keep it a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah. So the origins of the Weirdsies happened during a gash bash.
Mm.
And
was I there? I might not have.
No, you were not there. It was like me and Andrew and Clint and I think Sean and whatever gash bash people were there. And I want to say that it was in 2014. The Gash.
I mean, that would make sense because then it would be a pretty quick, the next year turnaround, right?
And at that point, it was called "Sit on Me."
No, I forgot about that. I'm glad you changed that.
And it was the round table of all of us, Alec and everybody, just at this Gash Bash. Wouldn't this be funny if it was this? And I said, yeah, a bunch of girls gotta like fuck a dead body and all that stuff, and stand by me, sit on me, and all that stuff, blah blah blah. And that was like, all of that. And I was like, I'm gonna. And I wrote it down, and then I really started marinating on it and seeing what we could do with it.
Well, and when did you decide to make it like putting you as a character?
That
from the get-go?
Yes, because I thought that earlier in the process of writing stuff down and coming up with ideas, it actually was going to be more of a autobiographical film with silly fake elements in it. And the characters were going to be names of the girls I grew up with.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was going to be like my childhood chums going on, and we were on this adventure, but I was a girl.
Right.
Because I wanted that. I wanted that because I felt like it would be funnier of an idea to have these girls do this horrendous, terrible thing.
Yeah.
And just because, two, it's funny. I mean, one, it's funny. Two, because I love putting you girls into the most ridiculous situations. And for an audience member, I think it's really different and shocking for all these girls to be saying these things, doing these things. And
it's like, sophomoric boy humor.
Yeah, but
coming out from
we never see that. We never see that, and it's part of LBP for sure. It's a part of everything that I've done. I love putting you guys in those situations, and I love that you girls like do it with such like nonchalantly. It's you're so used to it in this world.
Yeah.
That it's just like it's so nothing for you guys, and so I appreciate that, and I love getting feedback from fans who say, I have never heard girls say anything like this stuff. I've never seen girls do anything like, you know what I mean? So
we're a special breed.
Truly.
Well, it's also what you write, right? So.
Well, I know, but I mean, you're just so in tune with it. It's not even a second. It's not even a thought. You know what I mean?
Well, there's been also like over 10 years at that point, right? Of knowing how you write. And I think that was if someone just read that script that was not familiar with writing, first of all, they would say, there are so many like wrong words in this thing, or there's some typos. And I'm like, I know that it's not actually a typo. Like that's a for real Chris Seaver word.
Yeah.
Like actually I have a note about sinceriously. It's like a lot of people would just think that's a typo, and I'm like, no, that's hilarious. That's so Seaver. I mean, go ahead. What you were saying. I'm sorry. It's kind of like making me think of things.
Yeah. So that's that was the basic idea for the film, and then I just kept marinating it and like rubbing it, soothing it, and getting it, to where I wanted. And I think, and the Weirdsies, the name, I think it was just, I threw down a bunch of titles that were just like, this group of people, like this, like, and I think I had the weirdos and and I had a list, and I gave the list to a couple people, and I said, what's the best one out of this? Yeah. And people just picked the Weirdsies, and I was like, okay, the Weirdsies,
Yeah, well, it's kind of, it's got a Goonies vibe too.
Yeah.
Which I like too. mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good like geeky gang type of or crew name. So good on ya.
Yeah, and the reason, so I'll get your points and perspectives and talking points and all that stuff, but the reason that I felt, and I still feel to this day, that it's the best thing we've done collectively as a group. It might not be the funniest, it might not be the most outrageous, but I feel that on all cylinders, as a collective, at that point in time, it's the best thing that we put together. And so for me, shooting the movie, it was like this is like the closest thing we've ever done to page to screen. Do you know what I mean? Like, and maybe it was the emphasis I put on all you guys that this is important to me, and this is a little
no pressure.
This could be, for people to see it, this could be the gateway one, because it was the most, again, it was a conscious decision to make it the most mainstream I could get.
Yeah, because I'll say it's still not.
Still have the Chris Seaver stuff in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was having a ball watching it unfold. I was, I think I was probably the most just chill, There's a moment that I do remember shooting, but that's the only moment I ever remember throughout the making of that, 3-day shoot or whatever, that I got.
Was it just because it was stressful?
Frustrated. Just a little stressful. You know what I mean?
I wonder if it's the same thing I'm thinking of.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But so that's why, the Weirdzies, and I think everyone, there's one thing in it that I'm not going to mention. I can mention it when we're not
post.
that after the fact, I was like, but for the most part, I'm
happy with it.
I'm so happy with it, and I think everyone is just shining through, and I think it's a dope thing. And I can look at Death of Lantern, the remake, and say, well, that's the best thing that we've ever shot that looks amazing, that looks like better than anything we've ever shot.
Right.
But I don't like that movie. While there is some really funny shit in that
we cut a lot from that.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, it was a tougher shoot.
For sure.
That one.
For sure.
Isn't it interesting? You tend to remember the shitty stuff like more than like the good stuff, right? Some of our shoots have been like burned into my head. We won't even talk about them. But
that's
you look back at, I mean, I actually do remember a lot about the Weirdsies, maybe because it was, not 12 years ago, but 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I remember it ultimately being like pretty smooth and good, we had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't go out and do like super fun things. We were like focused.
Yeah.
But
people got to swim.
We did. Yeah.
There was a small bit of downtime where we got out to the pool and we did swim, Yeah.
A little, boost of morale right there.
A little bit here and there. But so Meredith, let's get into your memories making the Weirdzies. Let's go down your list.
Okay. Well, so I'm usually the one that's very prepared for things, even though it might seem slightly underprepared still, but I did make notes per normal host fashion. Yes. Anyway.
And folks, here, I'll give an aside. Folks who are watching this, maybe they're familiar with the films that we've done or not familiar, but Meredith not only is one of my best friends and acting in these movies, but she's also like the AD, she's everything. She's a PA, she's an AD, she's a script supervisor, she gets things done. She's an evil person when I need her to be an evil person, even to me.
Yeah.
When I'm not feeling something and I've told her, even if I try to cancel this, you say no, Seaver, and we'll butt heads. But you always kept that duty and that job, and you're always prepared. So this is, not surprising at all that you would have these moments.
I know.
Yeah, very efficient.
It's so on brand for me.
It is, but it did, whether you thought so or not, it really did keep things moving faster than they probably would have if you weren't doing what you were doing.
True. Yes, so. I agree on that. I'd say ultimately looking back on pretty much any shoot, to not have someone being like, or knowing their lines to like keep it moving.
Yeah.
I will say, like, just so, well, this kind of leads into memories of it, I guess, from like the beginning when I got the script. Let's just start there because we're going early on. We haven't even started shooting. I feel like you gave us the script. I feel like it was the most like in advance that we've ever had. And I want to say it was even more than a month, like maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was. Yes. I remember.
Which everyone, this is fucking unheard of. I'd be happy usually if we got it a week in advance. But I think I remember saying to you like, hey, I think it would be a really good idea to have this ahead of time. Well, and so then I also at that point knew that I was playing you. Yeah. And for me, that felt like an extra set of pressure to not disappoint you, knowing that I was you or based on you.
Yeah. Elements.
And so, yeah, elements. Okay, right. But so I got the script, and actually I didn't know the ending, I'm pretty sure. So the kind of twist, and then the second little added twist at the end, I did not see coming. And remember thinking, I like laughed out loud. I'm like, oh my God, these people are such fucking idiots. This is hilarious. So I remember like the surprise element for myself. Like we all knew they were going to go fuck a dead guy, right? But I did not see it coming. Which I liked. That was good. And it was just like a little, it's a quick at the end and like, oh my God, all of that for that. What idiots.
I know.
So, and I liked that about it. So anyway, I did feel a lot of pressure, trying to play you right. And so a lot of the lines that you wrote for the Chris character was like, okay, well, how would Chris say this line? Like I know you very well. So I was like going over my head, like, what are the weird inflections and like pronunciations he would give to these lines? And then I do remember, I think I actually called you and said, okay, I'm having trouble with a couple of lines. I don't know how you would actually say them. And so you like performed them for me. And I was like, okay, got it. And so how I prepare or how I found is best for me I am not good at short-term memory stuff in that ad-libbing. Nope. Giving me a line on the spot. Nope. Not good at it. Like
but you do it.
Do I?
Do it. Yeah, you do, because I've given you lines on the spot and you've done it.
Well,
the thing is, it's because you're prepared. You know what I mean? It is because you're one of the few who actually reads the script and tries to learn the script before we fucking shoot.
Well, this one was a heavy one, right? In that a lot of lines. And so what I did was I recorded myself on my phone.
Yeah, I remember.
I would say the lines, I say them 3 times in a row in the like weird Chris inflection. And I only do my lines and I do it scene by scene. And so I'll have a recording for like scene 1, recording for scene 2. And then what I would do like that, like let's say a month leading up to it, I would go to the gym and I'd have like be working out for like a half hour and I would just listen to it over and over and over. That's how I do it.
Dedication. It's amazing,
Probably the only reason why, okay, like one of the cool shots that I really like in the beginning is the long bowling scene where we first meet like the three ladies of the group of four. And I mean, that was probably the most lines we've ever shot in a row.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, like, and I feel like I think it actually flowed really well. And I can't believe we were able to do that knowing how we normally shoot. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
It's always way more choppy and chopped up and look at you, look back to you. And this was like on the three of us for like maybe a couple pages worth of lines.
Yeah, that was a idea that Clint and I had that we kind of meshed together. He had one idea and then I had the other, and then we're like, well, let's just do it together and see if we can do it.
And we fucking did it.
Yeah, you did.
In the crazy, I was thinking about that scene too, because that's actually, I think, the first, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was the first scene that we shot with Kate and Desiree.
It was.
So it was like, well, it was the first scene that they show up also in the movie, but to like nail the friend dynamic like immediately.
Well, it also helps
pretty.
that, you've worked with.
Right, yeah, we've worked together before.
Yeah.
But Kate only one other time.
Yeah.
But she meshed well with the super group. Well. Yeah. Also, by the way, like in my head when I'm thinking about the Weirdsies, I'm like, we shot in Wellsville. But guess what? Barely. As I watched it, I was like, holy shit. Were we only there for a day? Did we not even spend the night?
I think all we did was a full day, and then we drove back that night.
I thought so. I was like, I don't even remember staying there. And then when I watched it, I was like, no, I think we just did this, all the Wellsville stuff
just
in the one day.
Yep.
And I would say like, it made it feel like we were there though. It was the ambiance of Wellsville.
Yeah.
That was spread throughout that gave it that small town vibe versus.
It was a 3-day shoot, and one of the days was all Wellsville. We got there early and we started at the bowling alley, and then we just went from there. And then I believe it was like 9 o'clock at night. We were like, let's go home.
Back to Rochester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might even been earlier than that.
I know, it may have been.
Because we might have.
Are you sure it was only 3 days?
It was only 3 days. No, it was only 3 days.
Okay. I'll believe you. You know.
Yeah.
I thought
what we can do in 3 days.
No, it's true. It's true. So anyway, I think that what I remember really like vividly was like the friend dynamic of the four being like solid from the get-go. Which I think was good. Also, I mean, we always have a small crew, but there wasn't anyone new. I mean, other than I think, Nathan was there with Clint, but he was, super helpful and stepped in when he needed to. Mm-hmm. So everyone was like, normal people we've been around forever. So comfort level we weren't, no one that were like, didn't know how they were going to react to certain things. Yeah. When someone new comes in and you're like, hope this goes well.
Yeah.
We didn't have that factor.
Nope.
Anyway, I wondered, I know like Katie, the Katie character is like loosely based on Katie.
My wife, yep.
What about the Jess character? Was based on anyone?
After I decided to sort of throw away the autobiographical thing, it just, I didn't do that. So these are, other than that, and that was just because I told Katie, I'm going to give personality traits of you, my wife, Katie, to Kate, who is playing Katie.
Yeah, right.
But everybody else was this is just the natural characters that I'm coming up with as I'm writing. It wasn't because originally, like I said, it was going to be my childhood chums. And then I threw that away. I did throw that away. But so they're not really based on anybody.
I mean, Josh was kind of like Josh. in a little bit, slightly.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I just made Josh
Like a more like
a, a, a caricature, a gay caricature. Because yes, Josh is a gay man, but Josh doesn't act like that at all.
No.
And I wanted a more pronounced caricature of that guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, every character is pretty much a caricature of something. Right. Yeah. So that makes sense. There's not really like a straight man or something. You know, I'm saying like in that like role type of way, not saying gay straight. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, should I look at my notes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but was this the first time we like used the clapper deal? Or like really used it? Like pretended like we used it before, but we actually used it this time? I thought so, but
I don't know. I feel like we had the slate.
Oh, that's what it's called. Slate.
Yeah, I think we had it for maybe another movie.
I feel like we did, and then it kind of, well, maybe with Evil Night, but who cares? It doesn't matter.
That's what I thought of immediately. I thought we had it for Evil Night.
And I wondered if we actually used it properly or just like abandoned it halfway through. But maybe. This we actually, I remember it kind of made it feel like even more official. And then we had extra dollies and like.
Well, yeah, I mean the
tracks and shit.
Even from Evil Night, which was just a year earlier, to the Weirdsies, Clint kept upping the equipment package. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was a little more higher quality, even from Evil Night. You know, and Evil Night at that point was our first 4K movie, and so we just kept going up with different like cameras and shit like that. So I think it was actually more of a Chris, we have to have the slate for this because of what we're doing, you know, what we're using and whatnot. And then with Death and Land on the remake, it even went further because we had 2 cinematographers and, you know, all of that happening. So it just kept going up.
Huh. Yeah, up and up.
But the slate was helpful for sure. You know, definitely when we were editing, hell yeah. You know?
I remember if we got to like a scene like take 25 or
yeah.
It made it really real how many times you'd actually have done something.
yeah.
But whatever. Okay, so I was thinking about the first scene that we actually shot, and I'm pretty sure it was the opening sequence with Casey.
Oh.
Just me and him. That was like the first thing we actually shot.
That was the very first thing we shot. And that was Thursday night.
Yeah, I remember there being like a little like tag on, right?
Yeah,
like
so that was the Thursday night, and then Friday morning we went to Wellsville. So yes, I do remember.
Wait a minute, are you sure? Well, so then we must have shot the inside Casey scene and then the campfire scene that night. Before we went to Wellsville? No, that's not right. Damn it, I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
No.
Forget it. Because I thought Josh showed up right before the campfire scene.
I don't know.
Didn't he like just arrive and was like, all right, Josh, we're doing the campfire scene. Get in here.
I don't think so. But he did arrive later than everybody else.
Maybe I'm wrong. Well.
He might have arrived Thursday night. I don't know. Whatever. So what about it?
Anyway. I was just saying that was the first, like we actually shot was the opening scene, which normally doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I can tell it's the first one, you know, of like the shoot, like getting like in the groove.
Oh, I thought it was.
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I just, for me personally, can tell.
Huh. Okay.
And I remember there's something that was not in the script that you made me do. With the whole like watching, Night of the Living Dead and like masturbating thing was in it, but the licking it, the goo off my fingers was not in the script. It was a flick in the script, which I actually thought the flick was hilarious. But when it came to be time and you're like, we're using butterscotch pudding, and I was like, made sure I could eat it because I have all these dumb allergies. You're like, I think you should just like lick it off your fingers. And I was like, dude, no, that is so fucking gross. He's like, I want that. I need you to do that. And I'm like, oh God, I think the flick and the like goo sound is hilarious, but no.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm always like, ugh.
Yeah, but anytime I see that with somebody, they laugh and cringe, you know?
Well, I'm right there with them cringing.
It's great. It's, and when I saw it, when it won the film festival award, people were like, oh no, so like, oh, it's great.
Yeah, oh no. Yeah, I know it's like there's a reaction, so that's fine. I guess in that first scene that I thought was really funny was the fact that she was taping it. Like I remember when I read the script, I'm like, oh my God, what? I was confused at first. Like she goes and grabs a video camera, like a different point of view or something. And I'm like, oh my God, she's fucking taping it. What a weirdo. But I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah, man, because she wants to watch it back and masturbate to it, If there was going to be some action.
She wanted to, definitely record of that action. Anyway, yeah. So those are the first few things that I remember was the not flicking, but licking. And that was not in the script, but as we were doing it, a thing where you were like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I don't know if it was in the script per se, or we just amped it up, but in the bowling scene when there were Swedish fish there.
It was just a fun,
okay. I didn't know if it was,
just,
and I was totally fine with that since Swedish fish are my favorite fucking candy in the world. So I was just like, oh, you mean I get to continue eating these while we're doing this? Perfect. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then, also something that stands out is Alec as Lance, for sure.
Well.
So fucking funny and ridiculous. I feel like Lance really came into his own in this one. Was this the first big Lance role?
No, Lance was in Sex Squatch.
Oh, right.
He's in Sex Squatch 2.
But it is a different type of Lance. It's like a mean Lance.
Well, this is the first time where he's like an
Lance.
asshole. Yeah, like a real like jerk, but it's still Lance. It's still his stupidity. It's still his gross, like, he thinks he's like a fucking Casanova, but he's a complete idiot,
Well, and that was something that I kind of liked about their the Weirdsies' reaction to Lance was not like, oh my God, you're so mean and scary. It was like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
They're like, you're like a total asshole bully, but we're not even gonna give two shits about you. You suck.
Well, he's a joke. Him and his brood, they're just they're fucking jokes.
It seems just like a different type of bully gang than what you would normally see, where it's like, I'm gonna beat you up, and everyone's like intimidated. Whereas the Weirdsies are just like,
well, because really Lance's group are just jealous of the fucking Weirdsies. You know what I mean? They're like, look at these girls. They don't care. They have their shit together. They know who they are. And we're a bunch of insecure assholes who are making fun of them. And Lance wants to do everything the Weirdsies do.
I'm going to go fuck that corpse before they can.
Yeah. Stupid. It's a hilarious, stupid premise, you know? I mean, and the motivations of these people is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm telling you, man, this is a solid movie. It's a solid movie of just pure stupidity.
That you too can watch on YouTube.
That's right.
In its entirety.
Weirdsies right now, you know?
That's how I watched it.
I just got so tired of people not being able to see it, you know? I just was like, you know what? Here it is.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me look my notes. This is random, but so the thing that I was really thinking about Wellsville is it gave this like ambiance to it, but in reality we weren't there that much. But you know, like that, you know, all the like train track shit and is there. And when we're walking across the bridge and stuff and like spitting, and I don't know, I actually really like that spit part. But I was kind of remembering was someone freaking out about walking across that like train bridge?
Yeah.
Like, because there was slats, like you could see through it, right?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Someone was really nervous.
Des or Kate. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was one of those two.
Yeah.
Who was not feeling it.
I mean, we were high up. It was a little sketchy. I think the only thing that I was slightly concerned about is if this was an active train track and that if we were going to have to like book it.
It's the only reason we didn't shoot more, you know, of that montage was because I didn't want them to feel terrified.
Uncomfortable? Yeah. Well, I mean, I noticed it seemed like you tried to elongate a little bit with our reverse shot.
Yeah, I just turned it into a joke, you know, just a sight gag, you know.
Well, that leads into some of the sight gags that I actually think are pretty funny. I mean, Josh's small bindle is the best. It's so fucking stupid, but it works so well. I mean, him just like eating like is like, oh, you didn't bring any food? I mean, the fact that we all made fun of him for bringing a small bag and then, God, it's so stupid but so good.
Yeah.
Also, I wondered where the same scene with the train tracks and the bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
When I ask for money, a mannequin hand comes up. Where the fuck did that come from?
Remember,
did we find it, or do we have that?
I wanna,
because that like area was real trashy.
My brain sees it as two things. My brain sees it as it's something we must have found, but my brain also sees it as maybe Jamie had props.
Oh.
And it might have been one of the stuff that she had. So it could have been that, but it also could have been just this random arm, you know, like.
Because there was a lot of shit around there. It was like.
Yeah.
You know, it was good. It wasn't pristine. It was real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another little sight gag thing that I just made note of. Like, where the fuck did that man? It never showed up again.
No.
I remember it being so fucking hot and humid.
That was this.
So
I mean, it was
hot and humid. Was it July?
Like, it was either July or August of 2015.
God. And we were wearing the same outfits for 3 days. Yeah. So I remember just being like, I have got to wash this shit to even get through the next day. It is so bad. I brought some of my shirt that's one of my favorites, Fright Rags, that is the main Chris shirt. Oops. I mean, I've worn like crazy holes in the armpits and I can't even wear it anymore.
Yeah.
But I've saved it because I'm going to, cut it out, make a patch. But I got this from Ben on a different shoot.
Yeah.
Was it Blood Fart Lake 2?
I don't know. Ben, I mean, sometimes he
showed up randomly somewhere and he was like, here's some shirts. And I was like, mine. And then it became the main Chris shirt. And then, this only was really worn for like a tiny bit with my Swanson death metal, which I think is hilarious.
It
But
is.
it's very heavy cotton.
Yeah.
One of those dumb beefy tees. So
I
I
remember
was like,
you got me the same thing,
yeah, it's so funny.
and I couldn't wear it.
It's too beefy. I
Yeah.
hate when you order something and you're like, not the thick cotton.
Yeah.
Damn it. So this one, I was like, this has to be, because it's a thin shirt, my workhorse as far as only the 2 outfits go. And this thing and my short, I don't like wearing shorts at all, but you were like, you gotta wear shorts for this. I'm like,
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you did.
I did. Everything just smelled so fucking bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I must do laundry. I'm like, who else needs theirs washed? This is so bad. I think that's when we actually went swimming. I'm like, let's do a load of laundry because we all fucking reek.
Yeah.
Just because it was so hot.
Yeah.
So I remember that. Gross smells. And then I remember you almost cutting a scene because we didn't get didn't have a location. Do you remember this?
No.
The donut scene. And I was like, Chris, we really need to do the donut scene. And I don't know why I was so adamant.
So,
but I know how we got it now.
You know what? Like, that is one scene that I don't like in the movie.
Mm.
It's one scene I don't like in the movie. I shouldn't have played that character because that's not how. I think I was just like so like, man, I want to get this done. So I just did this real manic, ridiculous character. I wanted it to be somebody else, and I didn't want it to be where we shot it. I just didn't. Yeah. I didn't like the look of it. It just, on paper, it's funny.
Well, that's why I remember.
Joke, you know, it
pushing it to one line. I know.
The next joke.
Yeah. All right. I remember being like, having read it, and I'm like, I think this is super funny.
Yeah, it's.
And then when we were like, I think we're cutting it, I was like, no, you can't cut the donut scene. And then it was like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? I mean, it was a little bit of a scramble, and so I guess I feel that when I watch it, like I'm like, yeah, it could have been so much more.
Do you remember Josh was not the original fourth Weirdsie?
No. In the script or before?
After I decided to make it not just all girls, and we'd have one boy in the Weirdsies, I asked Bill Thomas.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And right up to about like a week before the Weirdsies, Bill just was like, I can't do this. I can't do it.
What?
And I was
How did I not know this?
And previously I had asked Josh, and Josh said no.
Like he couldn't get the time off?
There was something that was fucking with how we were going to do it, or something like that. So Bill, I said, Bill, can you, please, and I think he read it. And I think Bill couldn't make it happen. And then I went back to Josh and I basically begged him. I said, please, like, if there is anything that you can do to make this work, because we are, we're out, man. We are a week out and I need it. And he did. Like,
I can't even imagine it without him.
Yeah, I know. And then he made it work. And that is why he was there so short.
Yeah.
Like Josh came up, we did all of Josh, and then I think while you guys stayed like even a day later, Josh was gone. When his stuff was done, Josh went home.
Did he drive or did he take a train that time?
I want to say,
I feel like he was on a train.
No, he never did a train. It was either flying. It was either flying or he drove.
Oh,
and I think he might have drove. So, and I remember that's kind of how it was for Death of Land and the remake too. He came, he did his shit, and then he split.
I'm having a hard time remembering.
Yeah.
It's all a blur.
So luckily,
I can't imagine it without Josh. So
I know,
I'm
and
glad
Josh
it worked out.
doesn't like his performance. He doesn't like his character at all. He loves the movie. He said that he thinks the movie is hilarious.
I feel like we say that about ourselves all the
He
time,
just does
though.
not like how he was, And I think because he felt,
it was rushed.
Yeah.
I mean, if he only had a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when we shot the campfire scene, it felt like he was like, I'm looking at the script now.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this before, basically. Huh. Interesting. I didn't realize that, or I forgot it. Maybe I did know. I do have one, like, a regret about the shoot. It's something that I'm a little disappointed in us, to be honest. I really think we should have had a, like, for real choreographed dance number and not just a medley of us doing dumb shit. I truly think we should have had, like, a way more, like, planned out, polished dance number.
Yeah, I mean, there is a dance number in the movie.
There's not.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. It's not. It needed to be, and it's not.
There's the Goblin Queen.
Yeah. We did not plan anything, and we should have.
Yeah, I think maybe it was like that we wanted to, maybe.
And just never did it.
And just didn't do it, and just made shit up as we were doing it. It's in there. It's in
that seems obvious.
That she does.
Yeah.
Well, it's in there that she does that, and the song is in the script, and that was all planned out. But obviously, our, choreography or anything like that was not planned out at all. It was just a weird.
I know. I think it should have been.
But it's a musical scene,
Yes, but I just look at it as, like, we have done better.
Yeah.
And so in past shoots with some, even just a small choreographed part in it, we didn't even do that. So that is the thing that when I watch it, I'm like, man, it could have been so funny. Maybe that was on me to not. I didn't put anything together.
Yeah, we didn't push the choreography, or we were just like, come on, let's go.
I mean, that could very well be.
Let's just do it.
Normally, if we did have some sort of thing that was actually, like, planned out, we would have been practicing beforehand and not just on the spot. So, also, time was probably limited too. I mean, River made it a cameo, which was fun.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, maybe that might have been a thing, because River was with us for only that, and then remember, I think Lauren came and picked him up.
That makes sense.
From the shooting, and it was just it was like, this is what he has.
Right.
Do
you like that he's in it?
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah.
Does he like that he's in it? Has he ever seen it?
Oh, he's seen it. I mean, he hasn't seen the whole movie.
Oh, okay.
He has seen his part. Like, I mean, he could watch the movie now. I don't care. He has seen it way worse. But I think deep down, I think he thinks it's really cool and funny, but like, because he's 13 and he's like, this is, and when his friends are around, I'm always like, man, you got to see this scene with River.
He's probably like, no.
Yeah, he's like, no, but I've shown it. I've totally shown his friends, and they
you
just
were
laugh.
Like my embarrassing dad. Yeah.
Well, because it is funny, and he's great, and he's funny in it,
He is.
If River stopped being a dick, and dropped this fucking teenage attitude bullshit.
Teenagers.
It would be funny if he just did what I said, If
only he would listen to me.
Well, look, I mean, he did the Masters of the Universe video with me.
It's hilarious.
Where he did the call, but guess what? He was 12 then. Or no, he had just turned 13.
Oh, that was earlier this year.
Yeah, that was.
So he got really cool in the last 6 months.
He changed. Like, even his look, his look
Yeah,
changed
well,
so drastically. Well, I mean, now he's pushing 14. You know what I mean? He's gonna be 14 early
it's
next year.
so weird that I've known him since he was this big. Actually, when we shot something else, he was just a little size of a raspberry
That's right.
because we were singing Raspberry Embryo instead of
That's right.
Raspberry Beret. Oh, the good times.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah. So okay, musical number.
I mean,
I'll make a note of that.
Get it choreographed next time, host, because it would have been on me to do that.
Radical
I
will
didn't do it.
have a musical number.
So yeah, I was to say, like, with the donut scene, not to bring it up again, but I remember Alec called in a favor to a friend of his ex.
Yeah.
He was like, "Do I really have to make this phone call?"
I know.
He
He's so
seemed,
dumb
and
about that shit.
it worked out. Oh no, it was fine. I mean, it was probably awkward, but it worked out. At least we got it, but it wasn't what we wanted. Ugh. Whatever.
Yeah. But I had to keep it in because I like the stupid, subtle little punch.
That stupid
line,
donut line where, nah, I hate donuts. I actually don't like donuts, so it worked out. Only because I can't eat them. So.
Yeah. Oh man, I have video of you eating good shit.
Back before I knew.
Back in the day.
That was cause of all my problems. I mean, I actually think back and I'm like, I did eat donuts, but I never was like, donuts are so good. And I'm like, oh, it's probably because they made me feel like shit.
Back when you used to chow down on passion flakies with us too. I don't know how many pictures I have of you with like a passion flaky and gorging down. Those were the days.
The good old days of the gluten days. Also, just going on that theme, like, I believe it was, what was the movie where I was crunk and I had like shit all over my teeth?
That was
Skank.
Twas the funk before Christmas.
Right. Okay. So to get my teeth gross, I like Oreos. Turns out totally allergic. Just like constantly chewing on Oreos during that, and it's not doing me any favors. Yeah, that's why my face is all like
melting.
Oh, okay. So that donut thing basically leads into Buttcleft Jeff, so Clint reviving a character from
who is
Jeff. Was this the first time we see Jeff? What he looks like versus behind a camera?
No, nope.
I'm kidding.
No.
Nope. Just kidding.
He does show up in. Oh shit. Man, I don't know.
Well, I know he's cameraman.
Yes, he is cameraman.
But you never see him.
But isn't there a... Oh, I wonder if they cut that.
Well, what I was going to say is that...
Did you see... Yeah. Do you remember the Warlock in PIA?
No, but...
So there's scenes where the Warlock hosts PIA and he talks to Jeff because Jeff shot PIA and he's like, so tell me. Yeah,
I thought you were saying something about the Weirdsies, but no.
No, this is...
Yeah, the Warlock interviews Jeff.
Because I'm thinking of when we do finally see Jeff in the flesh.
Right.
And it's because of PIA, which was 2 years before the Weirdsies.
Yeah.
But so I guess to a wide variety of people, or finally the people who have seen the movie have now seen Jeff. Then yes, yes. And Jeff was based on a real human. Not that caricature, but the voice. The voice was based on Jeff, who we all know from Cinema Wasteland.
Do I know? Oh, yeah. Hey, man. You also have to say that. I'm like, hey, man. Yeah, right. Hey, man.
Love teenage man. Love that teammate, man. Woohoo, teammate!
Oh shit. Well, I remember not looking at Clint directly and completely tuning it out because I couldn't focus on anything he said because it was make me laugh. So I'm focused on just like voiding out my mind the whole time because I just couldn't hold it together.
Yeah, when he does Jeff, it's hilarious.
And there was a quick rendition of the squeeb 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 apple.
Yeah.
Which was more Evil Night times. Anyway, yeah, Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Oh, butt clef Jeff. Something else I remembered about when we were shooting that Josh did not know the Primus, like Les Claypool reference, and we had to like coach him how to sing it properly.
Yeah.
Or say it properly.
It's funny, you know, we forget. It's interesting, you know, Josh is young, and it's interesting what he knows and what he doesn't know. You know?
Yeah, because there's another song.
Yeah, well, he had no idea who the crash test dummies were, any of that.
Right, during PIA, and we all start singing. He's like, what the fuck is happening? He's like, I didn't know what was going on in the script, and all of a sudden you all know these words. And we're all like, what? And he was just like, mind was like, what is happening? So yeah, he didn't get the...
I find that very interesting with somebody who knows some of the shit that he knows because of like his father and the stuff that he was brought up on, and then some of the stuff he has no idea about. And I don't think about that, you know,
right.
until a person says, what is this? Like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, like, what is you wanted me to do here?
You know?
And to me, it was like totally obvious what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, you know, different references, different age.
Yeah. But because you know, I always forget ages sometimes because of these people and the relationships we've had with these people. It's just like,
right.
You know, you kind of forget that, oh, Josh was 15 when he first met us. You know what I mean?
So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That scene in general, I remember
in the train track under the bridge
being quite funny, because you know I got completely.
Oh, you were the transient.
Yeah, I was bottom naked, pretty much through that whole scene, holding my junk the whole time. But I remember you guys, you know, holding back laughter or not looking. And I had to look completely off, because if I was looking at any of you guys, we would have had to do it so many times.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that was funny. Didn't we just call him the transient? What did we?
He's just fucking, the squealing transient.
Squealing transient.
Who has shown up throughout, you know, the movies here and there.
Let's see. Something else in my notes was about the campfire scene with you know, the song "My Pussy's Too Hot," and only shot that twice. I feel like they even nailed the first one, and they're like, let's do it one more time.
Yeah. So the song. The song the original song is called "My Dick Is Too Hot," and I wrote and recorded the song in 2011, and it's a very funny, goofy song under the name The Creepy Assholes. And I wanted a music video that happens during the movie. And I wanted it to be sort of Dez's character showing you, the audience, why she was a virgin. You know? And so I changed the lyrics to "My dick's too hot" to "My pussy's too hot." And I wanted Kate and Dez to record it before we shot.
Okay.
And they just couldn't. They they didn't have the time to properly record it. And actually Des, if you remember, she wanted me to cut it.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, while we were there. She's like, I just do not think we can do this. Can you just cut it? And
where was I? I don't remember that.
No, we are not cutting this. It's not going to be cut. We can just shoot it live.
Yeah.
And so, much to Dez's chagrin, she and Kate had to take like a half hour and go work out how they would transfer my version into the version that they do.
Oh, I thought you had changed, other than the main part, I thought you changed all the lyrics to be more girl-based versus dude-based.
No, I did.
You did.
I changed all the
you're just
lyrics.
saying like they had to like come up with
so they turned it into the melodic thing that it was.
I see. Yes.
Because the song is not that. The song is much more upbeat and ridiculous.
Right.
This was a melodic version. So it was what they could do to make it work for them.
Yeah, and it turned out so
and then
awesome.
We
the
saw
first
it
time even.
For the first time, when we shot.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
It was.
And I know that was a big worry for her. She mentions it in her Crapsterpiece, where we talk about the Weirdsies instead of talking about Moist Fury. But she did bring that up, how it was a real fear for her. And she was thinking about it even up to shooting that scene. She was just so worried about it. And I think that's why she just wanted it cut. She was not happy with me saying, no, we're not cutting it.
I think I'm so glad that we did that, or they did that, and it stayed in, because it's super funny.
It works great.
And they did such a great job.
Do you remember me having reservations about that scene in general, just the whole campfire scene? Because I do. I felt like it's the longest scene in the film.
It is long.
And I didn't know how to cut it. Because everything that's being said is integral to moving.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, I failed writing that scene because I thought you would think that I would be able to cut down and get the information across in a timely manner. And I just couldn't. I couldn't figure out, for some reason, I was just like, how can I cut this character development, and still make it work in a shorter time frame? And that's one thing. That's another thing that I'm like, that scene does go on too long, but man, you're getting across everything that,
Yeah,
it's a lot of exposition.
Yeah, and it's also like a weird emotional scene, which is not normally something we would do. So it feels like there's not like, high point laughs per se. There's a lot of like this versus, like goofy shit all of a sudden happening. So I think that makes it not feel like it's broken up as much. But also, I don't know if it would work if it was cut with a bunch of goofy shit.
Well, the main comedy of that scene is the song.
Yes. Which and the song itself is not like a upbeat type of song, right?
Yeah. And she's doing exposition in the song.
I just remember feeling like, oh man, this is the one scene where it's like a serious, which is not something we normally would do. Where so I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and
I can't.
And again, that's my fault. And I think there's little kernels of that before that scene, mainly between you and Dez's character.
Right, where like you're gonna tell them, and
yeah.
Like when we're outside with.
And I don't know if that came across well, but maybe it does to an outside viewer. But to me, who knows what we were doing and how we were shooting, and you know, it might not have been as transparent.
Mm-hmm.
That, oh, there's something, there's a history here, and she's not
Yeah.
saying something. And the campfire scene is basically all of it.
Right. Yeah, there's a small nod before it.
Yeah.
The campfire.
So it could have been drawn out a little bit more, I guess. That is my fault. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's a hefty chunk.
But I feel like that fire scene like looks really good. Like,
oh, it does.
We had the fire going, and when we had like these fun gels, and like we were like, it was even not just yellow and orange. I feel like there were different colors that really felt. We were doing like someone was waving lights and shit, and like.
And it goes from that scene, that very long scene, right into the freestyle walking. Freestyle, which is a, you know, up to this level absurd.
Right.
You know, so it's right back to the absurd.
True.
You just, I don't know. This particular way, the way we were doing it, the way I wrote it, the way it was done, it just, you can't, it is what it is. And, you know.
Another thing about that campfire scene, which I know we keep talking about it, but it was a big one. I love that there's this random shit about Josh's secret about the aliens. And you're just like, what is this guy talking about? And then the fact that it's something actually happens later is amazing.
Man, I'm planting those seeds.
I know. So it's like you couldn't cut that either.
No, definitely. Because that's a punch.
Because there's so much payoff later. I remember reading it and like initially the script and just being like, okay, like reading. And then when I got to the end and Quasar Helix shows up, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, wait a minute. And then I like flip back and I'm like, oh my God, there's this one goddamn line that I just like didn't think anything of.
Yeah.
It's I like that aspect. And Jason is hilarious as Quasar.
Yeah.
And it's a weird Aussie accent.
I know, the most like low budget, shitty looking like, and we clearly
like miniature armor.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't. You know, we weren't trying to make him look amazing.
No.
We just, he's a guy in shorts and sneakers and fucking Roman armor, you know. And he's a space captain. And you know, that's a great payoff for people who are fans of the Dingleberries. You know, they get to see.
Right, I forgot that was like a character that existed before.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Quasar Helix.
That beautiful fucking spaceship that we all made.
Oh yeah, not for the Weirdsies, everyone.
No, but for the Dingleberries.
The Dingleberries.
You know.
Almost as good as the Transformer.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah. You'll know if you know. Also, something I remember about the end-ish, like when we find the body. I remember written in the script was like, they take off their pants. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And you're like, all right, well, you don't have to. And you said, you said, I'm going to buy He-Man underwear for you all. Like they were funny underwear. It didn't happen. But I remember you saying something about He-Man underwear, like little boy, like briefs.
Yeah.
And I was basically like, I will not be shot in underwear. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember me putting my foot down on that one.
So, you know, the compromise is what you see in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That still works.
Yeah. But there was no fun He-Man underwear.
It's all right.
It's okay. Just a random thing that I remembered. Yeah. I was going to say, but I feel like the end needs to be chatted about a little. So much happens right at the end. I mean, one, the goal of the whole journey is there. I have to say, like, when I rewatched it, I was like, fake dick looks pretty good. You know, I mean, it's obviously fake, but it's like not like purple, like something they would maybe do, where it's like, oh, that's obviously like. I remember that being extremely awkward to shoot.
Really?
I mean, obviously it's goofy, but it's just like, this is weird. I'm like, just bouncing up and down, and you had these horrible lines for me, like, I was like, you know, like demon voice, like, yeah, like blah blah blah. I don't remember what it was, but like
I had you say something about you know, you
like,
were calling them human garbage, and you know.
yeah, I was like, what? Right, something like that. Like, I'm like demon voicing insults to him, like, yeah, give me that, love it, or whatever.
Yeah, man. It's
I still feel like awkward watching that. It's just not my forte of being, you know, wanting to be in a sexy tape scene. No, thank you. I mean, it's not at all, obviously.
No, there's nothing
it's ridiculous.
Sexy about that.
No.
You know, it is straight. We just want to break those hymens and
get the job done with this dead dong. Yeah, I remember then being like, we don't have anyone to be that extra guy. Andrew, you gotta be him.
Yeah. That's one thing. I mean, Andrew hated making this movie.
I know. I don't know why exactly.
Yeah, he was in a straight funk making that movie. I don't know if he 100% has ever told me why. He resisted seeing that movie, watching that movie, you know? And then one day, like, me and Casey, like, made him. We just put it on without telling him. And he was just...
And he had seen it? I don't know. No, he's the one that has been like, eh.
Yeah. And he's never talked about it again. You know what I mean? Like, he just... I don't know what was going on inside him. I don't know, like... I don't know. He gave a great performance, but...
yeah, he's hilarious.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But he's the one that I think of that, like, didn't have a good time or looks back or doesn't like it. Okay, we haven't gotten to the shit fit yet, but a slight meltdown.
Yeah.
That someone else did shoot one scene because Clint took a break.
Yeah. Do you remember why?
No, I was trying to remember why he kind of flipped out.
Because, funny enough, like, I remember being so chill and so, like laid back
whatever.
By the whole thing, but not just in general the shooting. I was having a good time shooting. There's one time I got frustrated, but that was not the time. I was sort of like,
I assumed that was the time.
Clint, you know, I was just like, what is the issue here?
I think we all were just like, let him go pout.
We're like, okay, we'll fucking
it was the pool dream sequence.
Yeah, but
Nathan shot it.
There was something.
He ran off to the bedroom and called his lady.
Like, couldn't take it anymore, or something, and he went and pouted. I remember.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure we had some choice words, and then he came back later. You know, like.
But that was the last thing we shot.
Oh, it was?
Pool stuff.
And then we did our big group photo. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't remember that being the last thing.
Yeah, because we were like, let's get everybody in the pool, you know. It doesn't.
Oh, right, because then they were all wet, right?
You just get in and do your thing. And remember that night we all went out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was our last. And Clint was in the photo, you know. So.
I know. So he came back out.
Out, you know.
He just disappeared for a little bit, and I truly don't remember why.
Yeah, maybe he'll tell me.
He'll I'm sure he remembers.
Yeah. And it might be now. It's probably like nothing. You know, like.
I do remember it feeling like it should have been nothing, but.
Oh, it was. Oh, well, that's what I felt. That's probably why I was just like, this. You know, like I've never seen this. You know.
Well, I do know that it seems like he does get stressed because he feels like there's like how you feel like there's a lot of pressure. He also feels a lot of pressure because he's running the camera, lighting. He's basically like, doing what everything looks like. So there's, I think, I get it. There's an added element. And I didn't feel like that day we were going too long because sometimes that's when in the past, Clint's like, I need a break.
Clearly we weren't,
But I don't think, so I don't know. But anyway, that was the one little like meltdown that I remember as far as sort of hiccups in shooting, where then Nathan just took over and we're like, because we need to get this fucking shit done. And, he was.
Yeah, the only
in.
time I got frustrated was when we were under the bridge. And it was the scene where you all sit down and you're tired and you start talking about stuff. I got frustrated because I remember there were too many cooks in the kitchen telling people what to do. And I just turned around to whoever and I was like, shut the fuck up, like,
yeah,
everybody listen to what I'm about to say. And that was it. That was the one flare up. And after that, I mean,
and you know what? I don't remember that at all.
I do. But that's it.
I was sure. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just don't recall that. Yeah. Huh. I mean, that's a typical thing with the cooks and all that.
I remember the blow up.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah. I remember the blow up we had. Well, everybody had a blow up during the making of that Trauma movie, but I remember the one where I kind of went off on everybody and Jesse started crying. I remember that.
Okay, well, we were all put in like crazy stressful situations.
Yeah, the making of that movie was a nightmare. It was a fucking nightmare.
Right.
But not the Weirdzies.
No, not that one. No, not at all. I mean, overall, I like I said, I don't remember like any sort of really hard shooting. Like that one little hiccup that I mentioned just a second ago. But other than that, I mean, which is kind of shocking since we typically have more issues. Like I did obviously mention we had issues, like we didn't have a location, blah, 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 blah. But it worked out.
Yeah.
And you tend to forget about some of the other, bad times per se. But it didn't seem bad.
Not to me.
Overall, did you think, as far as like the Chris character, did it feel like the elements that you wanted for you, like your like the personality? I mean, no, it's not exact or anything, but
yeah.
Did she come across like closest to what you had envisioned?
I felt like she was somebody who totally would have hung out with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, definitely. But I mean, I even pulled that back. You know what I mean? From the original concept. So she was a filmmaker, yes, and she had a dirty mind and a dirty mouth, and liked boobs and said weird shit, and and wanted to be more than who she was. So that was all elements of me. Right. But I also think it's whoever this Chris is in the Weirdzies. I mean, it was great. Again, there's only one thing that we'll talk about when this is done recording.
Oh, right, I forgot.
Other than that, I think everyone just killed it. It was just awesome,
I agree. It was a good one.
It's one of those movies where every single time I watch it, I'm just like, that was a solid fucking movie. That's just we did good. We did it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said in the beginning, it's one of those things where I think from page to screen, very little,
Mm-hmm.
is different.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why when you ask me to pick one, I picked this one too. It's like there's a lot of good times, and it went smoothly, and it looks good, and it does feel like one of the most polished things. And it's not mainstream, but it's closest to.
I still think it is. I still think it is. If you think about some
I
of the
guess so.
movies
Some of
that
you're right.
have made it to the cinema,
Yeah.
into actual theaters, it's mainstream,
Yeah, you're right. There's some weird shit out there that gets greenlit. So.
Yeah. And then I think Treat or Trick is
Oh God.
probably the most mainstream thing I've ever written.
I know. It will be so awesome. I read it and was like, oh, this is so good.
One day.
One day.
Never. In my dreams.
Well, I don't know. Are we wrapping this thing up?
Yeah, I mean, what are your general...
I feel like I maybe went over my notes and we're
so the Weirdsies is good. I mean, do you feel like it's probably the best thing collectively that we've done? I mean, not necessarily the funniest, but
no, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't put it in that category, but I probably would think the best. I think it's the most polished in multiple ways. Like, sure, Death of Lantern, the remake looks really good. I mean, Weirdsies look good too, but storyline,
the best thing Death of Lantern has going for it is the way it looks.
Exactly. So I feel like Weirdsies looks good, maybe not as good, but good, but it has like the solid story line and elements, and we actually pulled off what we said we were going to.
Yeah.
Nice thing, there was like less pressure because there were not really any effects, which was cool.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference.
It totally does. But I'm sure you can attest, when we do have somebody who is designated to do that stuff, it is a lot better on all of us.
Absolutely. Yes.
No
doubt.
And that's a luxury that sometimes we just don't have. But yeah, I mean, it was also a conscious decision not to make this movie an effects movie. There was no reason for it to be an effects movie. It ain't Treat or Trick.
No.
Or even,
which you all need to get on board for, because it's gonna be rad. One day.
I mean, I think Radical will probably get made. And
Radical?
Treat or Trick probably won't.
You would even try to tackle that?
Not the way we do things. There's no way. We are never going to make movies the way we used to make movies again.
No, I mean,
so Treat or Trick would never be our. We would never get together to do that. You know what I mean?
No, but we also would never be able to do it.
Yeah, unless we had a budget. Unless we had
I feel like even if we had the budget, would we be able to do it?
Not without help.
Right.
We
would need
not without help.
Major.
And a month to shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Radical, we could do it with a relatively decent budget, but small, and about a week and a half. Like full on week and a half. Not 3 days, not 4 days, not 5 days, but we could pull it off with about, $20,000 and a week and a half.
Wow.
Radical.
I don't know much about Radical.
You do, You do.
I mean, I know the name.
No, you know what it's about.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
No, you do. You do. The name is just changed.
Oh.
Do you remember Einstein Weisenheimer? Do you remember
Oh,
the
yeah.
concept and everything?
Yeah.
That is Radikill.
Oh.
So.
Well, Radikill was one of the like original like Warlock weird titles you made up.
Yeah.
Like Deathgate 88, which I think that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I feel like we're just trailing on now versus like.
Hey man, these people love it. Okay, so that was it, guys.
Do you?
We just talked about the 2015 hit that nobody's seen, the Weirdsies. Again, you can watch the film for free, right down on our channel. Give it a whirl if you like weird, absurdist, comedy, off-putting, weird, offensive goofiness. Give it a watch. If you like it, you can get the Blu-ray from me, which has commentary and extras on it. But yeah, so thank you, Meredith Host, MVB. Meredith Van Bonage to the hardcore fans. Thank you for joining me for the Weirdsies, and we will.
Thank you for the invite.
We will get together again to talk about another one of your favorite shoots.
I know what the next one will be.
And guys out there, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Tell your friends if they love the '80s, they love horror, they love nostalgia and weird shit. Check out the channel. Give us a like. Let us know in the comments what your favorite LVP movie is, if you like this movie, all that good stuff. So thank you, Meredith, and thank you to the fans, and we will see you on another craptastic episode of Making a Crapsterpiece. Goodbye.
Bye.